Well, good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us. It is Tuesday evening, 6 p.m, 10th of February 2026. I declare the agenda briefing meeting of this evening open. We start by acknowledging the Whadjuk people, the traditional custodians of the land, and also pay our respects to elders both past and present. In accordance with the City of Canning Policy CM 105, agenda briefings are conducted to provide elected members with a forum simply to ask questions of the City's administration to enable informed decision making by Council at the following week's ordinary Council meeting. Agenda briefings are not decision-making forums. Questions may be asked and answered, but no debate or discussion is permitted. Questions must specifically relate to an item on tonight's agenda. Elected members and employees must disclose any financial, proximity or partiality interest that they may have in an item on the agenda and declare that interest at the commencement of the briefing or at the very latest when the item is about to be discussed. And financial, proximity and impartiality interests are to be disclosed in accordance with the provisions of the Local Government Act as they apply to council meetings. Elected members disclosing a financial or proximity interest must not participate in that part of a briefing relating to their interest and must leave the meeting for the duration of the item. Agenda briefings are open to the public. The briefing is being live streamed to the public via the City's YouTube channel. And lastly, please ensure all mobiles are turned off or at least on silent for the duration of this briefing. I'm going to just throw to Councillor Paul Tuchek in relation to tonight's Charity Day. You might be wondering why everyone around the room, except for me, is dressed in blue. Though I do have a blue check, Paul, as I said to you in my suit. Councillor Tuchek, why is everyone dressed in blue tonight?
Thank you, Mr Mayor. We're all dressed in blue to support Autism WA. I just wanted to have this little memory of Leon and Otis. Both boys attended the Willetton Basketball All-Ability program. Hopefully everyone's understood about the recent tragedy that happened in Mosman Park. So we're wearing blue tonight to support Autism WA. Thank you.
What a fabulous idea to highlight a pressing issue and something as topical as the autism issue right now in the community. Thank you, Councillor, and thank you to staff and also elected members for adhering to Paul's request. At item 2, tenants, there are no apologies this evening. However, we do have a leave of absence which is approved for Councillor Jacobs, and that leave of absence extends through to the 12th of March 2026. At item 3, 3.1 and 3.2, disclosures of interest. CEO, I understand we may not have any at the moment.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. As of this moment, I've received no declarations of interest either of a financial or partiality nature for tonight's briefing.
Thank you, councillors. Thank you, CEO. Question time for the public. First of all, response to previous questions taken on notice. There are no responses outstanding. Questions from the public. Do we have any questions from the public this evening? No, we don't. I might just press on then. There's no reason to open or close. Item 4.3, deputations, there are none. Item 5, items brought forward, there are none. Reports of committee meetings at item 6, there are currently none. Reports at item 7, the first report of the evening is 7.1 from the Directorate of Mr Michael Littleton, the Chief Executive Officer of the City of Canning. It's OC 001 of 26. The title of the report is Proposed Right-of-Way Dedication and Acquisition, and that's for lot 66 Centre Street in Queen's Park. The recommendation is on page 6 of the agenda and it's on screen at the moment. Councillors, are there any questions in relation to the proposal for Centre Street in Queen's Park? Councillor Hearn.
Through you, Mr Mayor, my questions are for the Director of Planning. The first question is, can a planning application for construction of a residence be approved without any pedestrian or vehicular access to public roads?
Mr Bride.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. It's obviously a hypothetical, but you would normally have to have access to a right-of-way or a public road. Otherwise, a property would be landlocked, so it would need to have some sort of vehicular access attached to it.
Councillor Hearn.
Okay, thank you. So my question obviously related to the residence, which is now address 97 Centre Street in Queen's Park, which uses this deceased estate to access the property and has no other access to public roads. The laneway, which is now being designated for rezoning, is surfaced with curbing, fencing along both sides, and dissecting the laneway at the school perimeter is another fence. There are also electric gates and address numbering at the verge. And when I visited the location, there was a vehicle parked on the laneway. So is it reasonable to say that this laneway is not at all operating as a public road reserve, but is actually operating as a private driveway?
Mr. Bryan?
Through Mr Mayor, well, it seems to serve the property 184 George Street, so it's a rear access way to that particular property. So it does serve an access purpose, but yeah, it is limited to a singular dwelling.
Councillor Hearn?
If this laneway is being used as a private driveway, does the city have the power to compel the residents at 97 Centre Street to either purchase the land or remove the electronic gates from the public road reserve?
Director Bride?
Through Mr Mayor, I'll have to take that one on notice. Certainly, if it does become a public thoroughfare, then the city would have the management authority over the land. And if there was an obstruction, they can direct the landowner to remove that obstruction.
Thank you. The Director will take the question on notice. Thank you. Councillor Kunza?
Thank you, Mayor Hall. Similar question to Councillor Hearn, through you. Just why or how has 184 George Street been built and have a crossover built with access relying on a land that's not a gazetted road, but it's freehold land owned by the Deanne estate?
Director Bride?
Through Mr Mayor, I'll probably have to look into the history of that property. It looks like it's probably 30 to 40 years old, so I'll have to probably look at the original approval to see what approvals were granted for that property.
We'll take that on notice and get back to you with an answer. Yes.
Thank you. I think it's 2009, 2010, that house.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Hearn, did you have another question? I might have cut you off, sorry.
No, that's all, thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions from the floor? Yes, Councillor Secon.
Thank you, Mayor Hall. I just want to inquire if the city will be receiving any financial benefits from the sale of the role, given its role in facilitating the acquisition.
Director Bride.
Through Mr Mayor, in terms of the laneway identified in red, that's intended to be purchased by the state, so the city would not receive any income from any sale of that land.
Thank you.
Thank you. That would be a no. Any other questions? Deputy Mayor Mark Bain.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. My question relates to paragraph 15. I'm interested to know the location of the city's stormwater assets and infrastructure within the row, and where the proposed easement will be. Would the city be able to provide a map for the OCM for council to consider, please?
Director Bride, are you able to provide that infrastructure map?
Yes, we can.
Yep, done. Thank you. Thanks, councillors. We shall. Oh yes, Councillor Joanne Page.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Just to clarify, will St Norbert's be reimbursing us for the fees that incurred 6A with title searches through lane gates? Because usually there is fees associated with that. So will that be reimbursed to the city for the work completed?
Director Bride, do you know? Oh, CEO Michael Littleton.
Yeah, thanks for the question, Councillor Page. Yes, the city does get reimbursed for the fees in progressing the divestment.
Thank you. Thank you, councillors. Councillor Secon.
Yeah. Thank you, Mayor Hall. Just one last question.
Yes.
With this inclusion, how many roads do we have at the City of Canning at the moment, and what's the cost of maintaining all our roads?
All of our roads?
Yeah.
That's not a question that would be relevant to this matter, I wouldn't think. I'd have to rule that as being a question that's not relevant. The amount of time that would be involved in addressing that question would be extensive. Director Bowe would like to speak to you off air and perhaps be able to clarify for you, but it's just not particularly relevant to this item. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Director Bowe. Thank you, councillors. We'll move on to the next item, which is 7.2, the Directorate of Mr Nelson Maurizio, the Director of Corporate and Commercial, is CC016 of 26. It's a monthly financial report from way back in November 2025. The recommendation is on screen. It also appears on page 14. Are there any questions in relation to that item? Thank you. We shall move then to CC 002 of 26, the monthly financial report for December 2025. The officer's recommendation is on screen and also appears in the agenda on page 55. Any questions from the December financial report? Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. A few questions, if I may. Given the new and as well as upgraded dog parks and playgrounds, the city now has responsibility for, including Long Park and to be in the very near future 3 district level playgrounds. Is the city looking to expand the Parks and Environment team?
Mr. Maurizio. Oh, Director Bowe.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Deputy Mayor, for the question. The short answer is no. We have worked hard over the last few years, both adding additional parks and undertaking parkland redevelopment, including the installation of playgrounds, and have done really well in managing our budgets within the constraints that's afforded by council. So there are no immediate plans to expand our number of full-time employees within the Parks and Environment area.
Thank you. Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Page 71, Greenfields Bridge replacement. Are we on track, through you, Mr. Mayor, to Director Bowe, for that particular piece of infrastructure to be installed in 26-27?
Greenfields Bridge, Mr. Bowe. CEO.
Thank you. Look, we currently have not commenced detailed design of Greenfields Bridge. It is something that we are looking to complete prior to the end of this financial year. I don't have a distinct timeline at this point in time, Deputy Mayor. Happy to provide that in our project update.
Thank you. Yes, Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just one more. Page 72, the note is drainage basin overflow. Quotes to be sourced in Feb 26. What basin is this referring to?
Director Bowe.
I'm happy to take that question on notice, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
I'll get back to you with an answer on that one. Councillor Secon, did you have a question you'd like to ask?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Under capital expenditure, Rostrada Avenue to MacArthur Court to Killara Drive, project budget to be repurposed at mid-year end budget review. I just wanted to get some information on that.
Director Bowe.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The city was offered what is referred to as reserve projects by Main Roads WA through their funding streams, which required a 1/3 contribution. As a result, we looked within our budget and identified projects that we could carry over to next year and rebudget for next year, and that was the project that we identified. In effect, it's the reserve project that we were granted was Seven Oaks Street, probably in the vicinity of $500,000 to $600,000 worth of road upgrade. As a result, we needed to find 1/3 of a contribution to that, and that's the proposal in the mid-year budget review, which you'll see next month.
Thank you. Councillor.
Another question?
Yes,
Yeah.
Councillor.
Also under capital expenditure, cycling and walking route 1, which connects Queen's Park to Curtin. I understand stage 1 has been completed and there is construction commencing March to June. How many stages are there as part of the cycling and walking route 1?
Director Bowe, are you able to answer that off the top of your head?
Not off the top of my head, Mr. Mayor, but it does. Our progress through the various stages does depend on the budget that's allocated. But I'll be able to provide a more detailed response to Councillor Secon.
Absolutely, and that'll be a deliberation for us in our budget deliberations that are coming up starting March, I believe, aren't they, next month? Yep. So we'll be talking about that. Yes, Councillor Joanne Page.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. My question is about Seven Oaks Street, Welsh Border Ewing. It was saying awaiting MetroNet completion before commencing the survey and design work. I thought the practical completion was around October, or are you waiting until the winter planting before that begins?
Director Bowe.
I'm happy to take that question on notice and provide a detailed response to Councillor Page.
Thank you. We'll get back to you with an answer to that question. Thank you, councillors. If there are no further questions on the December report, we shall move on to the next item, which is item 7.3. Director Graham Bride is the Director of Planning and Development, and the report comes from his directorate. It's PD 001 of 26, the report title being Report of Review of Local Planning Scheme number 42. The recommendation is on page 97 of the agenda and is on the screen right now. Councillors, are there any questions in relation to this particular item? Councillor Kunze, yes.
Thank you, Mayor Hall. Through you to Director Bride, I just have a couple of questions. First of all, with respect to how this review is implemented, 3.D of the Officer recommendation regarding the structure plans that should be amended. I'm just wondering, are we just notifying the WAPC that they should be amended? There's no actual description or commentary as to why they should be amended, and that one is it does say that one is currently under review and one will be reviewed, but why the city believes they should be reviewed.
Director Bride.
Yeah, through Mr Mayor, the main reason is the fact that they have a 10-year life span. So they, Queen's Park is approaching that this year and Cannington City Centre is next year. So that's the primary reason. We don't need to go into details. We're just explaining to the Commission through the report that those two documents are up for review. It doesn't say what will be reviewed, it's just that they need to be reviewed. Queen's Park is coming to Council in March and the City Centre will follow in 2027.
Thank you. Councillor Kunze.
Thank you. And as part of the process, is there a timeline in which they have to be reviewed by?
Director.
Through Mr Mayor, the department is not absolutely hard and fast on the 10 years. As long as you make approaches, for example, the Queen's Park local structure plan, they know exactly where that one's at and they're comfortable with the time frame for that one. In terms of the city centre, that's 2027. So we're in basically in line with the 10-year program. If you were a little bit further after those 10-year periods, as long as you're making an effort, the department are comfortable with that.
Thank you. Yes, Councillor.
Yeah, just another question, and please give me some indulgence, Mr Mayor, as there's a bit of explanation. With the review, it's obviously at a macro level, it's working well, LPS 42. I just wonder, is it through this process? I thought it would be through this process, but whether the city looks at the underlying premises on which the housing strategy and LPS 42 and the supporting documents are founded upon. For example, the suburb of Riverton was largely densified through the housing strategy and then LPS 42 because of factors like the age of the housing stock and also the proximity to major transport routes, High Road, Barland, Leach. But since we went through that strategy, there's obviously been issues with Leach Highway. The state government is investing into dealing with almost every intersection along there on the western side of Shelley Bridge. The city's advocating to widen Shelley Bridge. The city is proposing to reduce the speed limit along High Road due to the issues. And yet, from a planning perspective, we're intensifying those roads through the densification. I just wondered whether the city reviews whether the fundamental premises of what we were trying to achieve is correct and whether we ever look at what should be done in the future. I expected sort of to see that through this process. I just wondered if it ever gets looked at. I know local governments don't generally look the opposite of densification, but obviously we've got a number of issues that council and the public have been talking about, and yeah, I'll leave it there.
Director Bride, will they be considerations?
Yeah, through Mr Mayor, we've got the local housing strategy draft, which will come to council at a SIB in a couple of months' time. Fortunately, the densities that were prescribed in LPS 42 very closely align with the central sub-regional planning framework. So the state government has done its own work over the central metropolitan area, identified all the transport corridors, all the areas for densification, and they pretty much mirror the city's local planning scheme number 42, with the exception of a bus route going through the Willerton area. So that was an area that, for example, that we will be picking up for consideration as part of the next housing strategy. But all those points you made around, what the take-up has been, for example, on Manning Road and Albany Highway, which has been probably less than the take-up along High Road and Leach Highway. Those things will come out of the local housing strategy, which will be workshopped with council in the next couple of months. But what we're saying is the local planning scheme 42, in terms of the areas that have been densified and its compliance and alignment to the state government planning framework, it's in good shape. It doesn't mean that through the local housing strategy review there won't be amendments to the scheme going forward.
Yes, Councillor.
Sorry, just one last question. without getting too political, the state government misses targets and promises and that all the time. What is the compulsion on local governments to meet the targets they're set? What is the penalty if they don't meet the targets? I know that in some local governments the state overrides planning policies, but what is the potential negatives to missing your targets as a local government?
Are there repercussions, Director?
Through Mr Mayor, there isn't, as far as I know, any fines or any resource or any funding commitments tied to those targets. It's just a expectation that in order to achieve infill targets across the board, that each local government should, I guess, play its role. And if the planning framework didn't account for those targets, whether or not those targets materialised, obviously if you have the zoning in place and the densification, they should. But the reality is that, each local government has to play its part in that state planning framework. So if we didn't actively plan for that in terms of our local planning strategy and our scheme, then the state government wouldn't support those documents. They only support on the premise that you are geared to achieve those targets. But in terms of any financial penalty, there is nothing. There's no other penalty that I'm aware of.
There'd be no. Any other questions? Councillor Francis here. Oh, Linda Ross.
Hi. Thank you, Mr Mayor. Just given the density issues that Councillor was raising, in Scheme 42 there are limited areas that are zoned community purpose, and many of these areas are including existing schools and the Castle Dare facility. So I was just wondering if the zoning of community purpose has been considered as part of the review to attract investment in this area, given the density is increasing.
Director Bright, is that a consideration?
Through Mr Mayor, yeah, there's probably around at least 20 or so sites that have got a community purpose zoning. A lot of them are, for example, Rossmoyne Waters, in that aged care sort of sector, and there's a number around the city. The actual land use table or the zoning in those areas are quite flexible. For example, Rossmoyne Waters has a community purpose site and it's got 9-storey buildings upon it. So I guess it's a case-by-case basis. At the moment, the most advantageous zone for those property owners is community purpose because it offers them a range of land use mix. If it was rezoned, for example, to residential, then that narrows the land use mix. So you probably find a lot of those landowners would probably hold on to that community purpose zone, I would have thought.
Thank you. I just wanted to raise just one thing, Director, just in relation to the report, and it's probably too late to change it now. Just in future, can we make sure that suburbs are referenced in the structure of the report? Obviously, people at home and people reading the report are looking for items of interest that might be relevant to them, and I'm sure depending on where you live, Portcullis local structure plan means nothing to people that don't know where Portcullis Drive is in Willerton, and so a number of those, Allure Estate probably means nothing to people living in Queen's Park or Bentley, so I just wondered whether we could actually have just in brackets or annotated just the suburbs in which those plans actually exist. Just a comment, that's all.
Through me, yeah, look, we're happy to do that. It's just a case of putting those suburbs in brackets. They're the actual names of the documents, but You're right, it's not going to hurt to put a suburb in brackets.
Above all service, Director. That's it. Thank you. Any other questions on that item before we move on? Thank you. We shall move on then to the next two items are 7.4 and 7.5. There are no items from those two directorates. At item 8, notice of motion for consideration at the next ordinary council meeting. I have given due notice to the CEO of two motions that will be brought to next week's OCM. I'm just working with the CEO and just tweaking a bit of the language, but due notice has been given. I'll be presented as soon as we have those at hand. Urgent business, item 9. There is no urgent business tonight. We do actually have a confidential matter, so that'll be at item 10. So I wanted to thank members of the public for their attendance tonight and ask them to please leave the council chamber in order for council to discuss the confidential matters that we have before us. Thank you very much for coming along this evening. And Governance, can you confirm that the live streaming has been paused Governance, please confirm. Governance, please confirm we are live streaming the meeting. We are. Thank you very much for the confirmation. The time is now 6:30 p.m. on the dot. The meeting has been reopened to the public and the live streaming has recommenced. At item 11, closure, there being no further business, I now declare the agenda briefing closed at that time, 6:30 p.m, and I thank everyone for their attendance this evening. Thank you, staff, and thank you, elected members, and thank you again to Councillor Paul Tuchek. Thank you.